Hey there, everybody. Let's talk. All right. So today, along with my daughter, I watched Beloved back from 1998. Oprah Winfrey, Danny Glover, Thandie Newton, Kimberly Elise. You know that cast of Irma. Um, I forgot her last name, but you know Beloved. There's only one Beloved. So amid a hotly debated opinion pool um, at film school about who loved and who hated Beloved and how complicated it was and how long it was and how confusing it was and on and on and on and on and on. I never really had the desire to see it just because, I had heard it was complicated and I wanted to flush my mind of everyone's opinion and look at it and judge it for myself. So I never really got around to watching it. That being said, I did watch it today. I know it's years late, but I did watch it today. Anyway, um, I get why people were saying it was confusing and it was complicated and it was too long because, quite honestly, if I had to sit in a theater and watch it, if I had to sit in a theater and watch it, um, I would have probably been confused. Had it not been for me having my remote control to stop and to pause and to rewind and to contemplate what was being said and what I just saw and the symbolism in what was being said and so forth and so on, I don't know if I would have grasped it the way that I did, especially if it was going nonstop in a movie theater and I could not mentally digest each and every part of the movie like I was able to today. All right, so I get why people had issues with it. Get it, get it, get it, get it. Neither, um, well, let me say this. Additionally, I understand the director's point of view and the screenwriter's point of view when they drafted or adapted this film from the novel because there's so much symbolism that you can convey in a novel that's a lot harder to convey on a screen. And this movie was wrought with symbolism. It was symbolism here, symbolism there. There was symbolism everywhere. So, um, without criticizing the writer or the director, I get why people were confused about what was going on. On the other hand, I also understand as a writer myself how difficult it is to convey symbolism to an audience and to have it impact them and to have them understand what you are trying to get them to understand the same way you understand it. You're basically trying to take a concept out of your head, something that's symbolic, that relates to something else, and it's meaningful to you, and you hope that you do a good enough storytelling job to make it meaningful to someone else. That's not the easiest thing in the world to do by any stretch of the imagination at all. So not knocking the writer or the director either, and yet understanding why the audience was somewhat lost. But that's not the point of this Let's Talk session. The point of this session is that there were some real jewels um, that I saw when I was watching the movie. In particular, the attic scene with Kimberly Elise and Thandie Newton. Kimberly Elise played the role of Denver, and Thandie Newton played the role of Beloved. And the girls, once they came together, Kimberly Elise was so happy to have Beloved there at the house with them, and they laughed and they played. And the opening of this scene started actually with them running through the attic and jumping around and dancing and twirling and so forth and so on. And then a really serious moment came. A really serious moment came when Thandie Newton's character, Beloved, looked at Denver and said, um, you can go away, but she can't go away. I love her. I need her. And basically, I mean, they were talking about Oprah Winfrey's character, the mother, and Beloved said in no uncertain terms, "Yeah, you're cool and all that, Denver, but I really came here for mom, and I could take you or leave you." Now, needless to say, that hurt Denver. Um, but it's not so much that it hurt her. What I was struck with was the way that how effectively Kimberly Elise and Thandie Newton played that scene. Oh my gosh. At that point, after she said those words, after Beloved said those words to Denver, dialogue stopped. Now, I'm going to take a bunny trail real quick. Those of you, excuse me, who have been in my script writing class or who have ever been in anything that I've directed, whether it's stage or film or whatever, you know that I always talk about the difference between um, storytelling for film and storytelling for, or film and TV and storytelling for the stage. Those of you who have taken my class know that a film or movie is a story told with pictures, as opposed to a stage play. It is a story told with dialogue. Now, in a film, the story is told with pictures, and the dialogue supports what the audience is seeing in the storyline that's playing out through the pictures that the audience is seeing. The dialogue supports that. On stage, the dialogue drives the story, and the limited scenery that you see on stage supports the story being conveyed through dialogue. It's just opposite, flip flop. All right, so that being said, let's get back to the attic scene. Now, dialogue ended when Beloved rejected Denver, but communication by no means ended. It was incredible. And I don't think that exchange of expression, or the exchange of expression I'm about to talk about, took any more than maybe 20 seconds, maybe, if that. But I got to tell you, it was so powerful to see those two actresses work that scene. Thandie Newton, or in other words, Beloved, rejected Denver. And Denver had this look. Kimberly Elise worked that scene as Denver. She had a look of being stunned, the words that had just been spoken settling into her consciousness, like, oh my gosh, you did say what I thought you just said. Then she went to being hurt, and then she went to being angry, and then she went to being submissive. And she did it all with no dialogue in her expression, just her eyes and her facial muscles and anything else she wanted to employ from the neck up. That girl worked that scene. She's an incredible actress, because a television or film actress understands that everything you're giving to the audience is going to be through your face and through your body language. And your dialogue is going to be thrown in there to support what you're doing, but you got to give it to them here. You got to give it to them here because they're watching you. And what this young lady did, well, she was a young lady at the time, what she did, she conveyed all of those emotions. Now, you got to understand where I'm coming from. Some people might say this is not a big deal, but for anyone who has acted or directed or attempted to pull emotion out of people for a particular scene or something, you understand how big of a deal this is. What Kimberly Elise was able to do through those few seconds and allowing herself to be so connected to that character, she knew, I don't know if the director directed her to do this, probably so, or if she just understood her character so well. She took her character through all those emotional changes, beat by beat, transition by transition. And again, those of you who have been directed by me or you've taken my class, you understand emotional transitions in a script or in line or in a line or in dialogue, how important those are to be able to convey when an emotion or state of mind shifts in a character. That's my son back there. That being said, Kimberly Lee's transition between probably at least 5 emotions on her face that was totally readable by the audience. The audience understood everything she was trying to convey, and she never uttered a word. Amazing, incredible actress. Thandie Newton, she went from rejecting to feeling sorry for her, feeling sorry for Denver that she had to reject her, to defiant, to downright terrifying. Literally, she had this look on her face that would chill your blood. It was horrifying, terrible. And then her face softened into more tender. I can't really say it was forgiving because she didn't have anything to forgive, but her face softened into compassion. That's what it was. Now, Thandie Newton, she conveyed probably those 4 or 5 emotions, and you saw every single one of them. You saw when she went from one to the other. Her performance was not flat. It wasn't in any way dull. You knew that she was changing. Thoughts, you could see the thoughts changing on her face, and it was incredible. And I think that moment in that film maybe lasted 20 seconds, but I tell you, it was a poignant, pregnant, emotional, and intense moment to see happening between 2 characters with no dialogue. They didn't say a word to each other, but they communicated perfectly to one another. So some of you may be saying, what's the big old deal? And I'm going to tell you. The big deal is that it helps me take my acting to another level. I need to know that I can convey something if I have no dialogue. I don't need to need dialogue to shine. I need to be able to act, dialogue or no dialogue. And I also need to be able to convey dialogue effectively. As a director, I need to be able to pull that emotion, to draw that emotion, to help my actors and actresses understand what it means to pull that out. Now, I trust their talent and their skill, or they wouldn't be in the film, or they wouldn't be in the play. But as the director, I need to pull that out of them, because my job is to help them convey to the audience so that the audience will follow the storyline and get it. Get what's intended, get what's being offered to them. They need to get it. That's my job as a director. And lastly, as a writer, I need to be able to write in such a way that the actors or the actresses understand what other emotional transitions or state of mind transitions, otherwise known as beats, are expected of them. They should be able to read their script and it should come across to them. So on a number of different levels, that scene spoke to me. I'm always working on it, always doing my thing, writing, acting, directing, love it, love it, love it, love it. But you never stop growing. And when you see something that you can use, go ahead and incorporate that into your craft. So for all of you performing arts lovers out there, that's why I know you're on the Good Life Productions entertainment page. Pick up a copy of Beloved. If you don't want to sit through all 3 hours, fast forward to the attic scene and check out what I'm telling you. It's an incredible moment, an incredible cinematic moment, and just an incredible moment in storytelling in general. So I don't know. That's it. If you have a different opinion, or if you have some feedback, or you just want to chat about it, would love to hear it. Let's talk.